Also available is the Microsoft 365 Copilot Windows application. So rather than just using Copilot through your browser like we're familiar with, now there's an application that you can run on your machine. You'll notice in the chat box, or normally I would type here, if I clear this out, I have a little start voice chat option now. And when I click on that, Copilot is going to start listening to my microphone, and I can have a conversation with it. So rather than just typing, or rather than using that shortcut that we've talked about before, where the system will transcribe what you're saying, you're actually having a conversation. So I'm going to try that now. We'll see how this works with my audio here in Zoom. And you may not be able to hear Copilot talking to me, but you'll see the transcription. I'm just going to go into my sharing, just see if I can. Yeah, it doesn't let me select audio, but we'll give this a try. So I'll start a chat here. Allow that. So, hey, Copilot, what is on my calendar this afternoon?
So right now, Reid, is it actually talking to you? We just can't hear it through your mic?
Yeah, it's talking back to me, and it's also giving me a text response of what it's saying. It's choppy because I can hear you too. But then as I'm talking, it's feeding what I'm saying right back into Copilot, which is going to confuse it now, because now I'm talking to you, but it's also hearing me. So
a couple things about this, comments and questions. One is, just for clarity, you don't have to use this new app to do this. This is actually in the browser as well.
Yeah, I believe this is in the browser as well. And
it is. I'm telling you this.
Yeah. Okay.
And let me have a little piece of the
sure. Yeah, sure.
And then also wake words on mobile and or in the browser or on the desktop app.
Yeah, so there's no wake word here. There's the action of pushing that start voice chat. So
it's not like Siri or OK Google.
Right. Oh. Not or Alexa, hey Alexa, or hey computer. Yeah. You have to push the button to get it to start listening. Now maybe that'll change at some point. If you've got a mobile device, you can do some fancy stuff with Siri and listening for other words and starting things. But yeah, so that's pretty neat. So I would encourage people to try that out. Nice to have a conversation. It'll take your words a lot faster than many of us can type. So
certainly faster than me.
Yeah. So talking with AI can be much more effective than typing with AI.
Even though this is relatively new, I haven't tried it at all, and I'm going to try it because of my lack of typing expertise and to help iterate.
So this is something that I do a lot, where I'll have a meeting and I need to generate a summary. We've talked about a variety of different ways to do that. I type in a prompt to summarize a meeting. So here's a meeting that I had, a weekly automation meeting, and I can scroll through it. There's a bunch of great content in there. And I said, okay, at the end, update this document. That was my prompt. And if I click on that, Copilot Chat kind of gaslit me again. It said it did it, but it didn't actually do it. So I put the same prompt into Cowork, and it's this weekly automation meeting. Go up to the top here, summarize the meeting, and place the summary in this document template, because we have a document template that's got our logo on it and page numbers and all that fun stuff. So it errored out at first, and I wish I could have shown that, because it sat for about 15 minutes and errored out. But then I said rerun it, and then it went pretty quickly. And then at the end, it said it saved it into this file. So let's open that up. So here's the summary that it wrote using the letterhead template format that I gave it to begin with. So think of how you could apply this. You could say, for every meeting that I had last week, output a summary for my client using our meeting summary document template. And then I could have other content in my template that it would insert into. So this is really cool. It's using the Microsoft Word skill that came built in from Microsoft when they released this to be able to work with documents. So,
but you put that template in, right?
Yeah, I gave it this template. I picked from our SharePoint, I grabbed a copy of our template file, and I said, use that.
Now, going off what we had planned a little bit more, since we're doing this live anyways, and you got the scheduled to work, could you build a skill that has our brand guidelines?
Absolutely. That would be
rather than just copy the template in, we have a document that says, here's our brand guidelines. We use this color for this and this color for that.
Yep.
So you could build that skill.
Yeah, that's something to try out. I've done that in Claude Cowork, and I intend to do the same thing in Copilot Cowork.
I'm going to start with how we use Copilot as a natural language prompt to help us with our formulas, things that we're not entirely sure how to do. I use Copilot a lot when I'm working on trial balances, working on balance sheets by quarter, breaking things down and manipulating the data. Sometimes I don't know exactly the formula I want to use because Copilot or Excel, as you know, has a ton of different formulas. So one thing that I have been using Copilot for is create a formula that does this thing that I need. And I explain in my natural language, it matches the account name from this column to the other tab and pulls over the data. I use this a lot every single month. Actually, I use the same workflows. So using Copilot helps me get it done a lot faster. And I just wait for Copilot to work on my answer.
So while it's waiting, Jill, can you just repeat sort of what you're trying to do there?
So for this one, I pull in data from the trial balance that's updated based on the quarter that I'm working on. I pull it over to this balance sheet, and then I use that to input into some of our different systems that we do reporting, as part of our peer groups and other things. And this helps me organize that data and then upload it quickly. So Copilot has come up with a formula. The thing that I like about it is it will always tell me what the formula does and then give me alternatives if I don't want to use the first one that it gives me. I usually use the first one because it's almost always just what I need, but I have noticed Copilot has a habit of breaking up lines when it should be all on the same line. So have to do a little manipulation to get it.
You're just formatting.
I'm just formatting the code that it outputted.
So Reid, you mentioned in an earlier Copilot webinar that it was using Python. And this went so fast. Was it using Python for this?
Not here. This just looks like an Excel formula. Yeah. Python would be used. If it's using Python, it's going to create a new sheet, and then it's going to start writing that Python code. So this is pretty cool.
So it's pulled over the data that I need, and if I look here, this is the information that it's pulling, and it's doing a match, and it's using some trimmed up words to make it a little bit simpler. But I use this probably at least once a week doing different things.
So Jill, how did you used to do it before Copilot?
I would just manually go equals, click, enter, and then copy.
For every row in that spreadsheet?
Yeah. It was really time consuming. So the more things that I can do automatically, this obviously simplifies it. And if I don't know the formula, this is the best way to come up with it, because I don't know X match and X lookup as well as I know some of the other standard formulas.
Yeah, and I would describe you as a sort of an expert Excel user, not an average Excel user.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I use it all the time, and I'm maybe an average or below average Excel user. What was the other thing you wanted to show us?
So that's the first one. The second one is a reconciliation. So sometimes when we're doing scorecards or we're doing other different kinds of reporting here at the company, I need to reconcile two sets of data and see where the changes are. So this is just an example, some output that has been anonymized. I have data set 1 and data set 2. So 2 different weeks. Imagine it's 2 different weeks of data, and I want to figure out what's different between the two, but I don't want to go through the whole hullabaloo of looking at every single line. So in this example, I will ask Copilot to please reconcile. Oh, I have it, the 2 tables. I have the 2 tables named, but I can't remember what I named them. So we'll let Copilot run on that.
So while it's running on that, to see if that works, you said the word hullabaloo, which I won't ask about, but do you also use Copilot in your spreadsheets? A lot of times when the spreadsheet first pops up, it'll say Copilot has some, I don't know, help me out, Reid. It has some suggestions right off the bat. Do you ever use that?
Sometimes, but it depends on what I'm looking at.
Yeah, they try to provide context-aware prompt suggestions as those little buttons at the bottom, right above where you prompt.
Yeah, so what I'm talking about is I have some simple spreadsheets that are like have pivot tables and types of meetings I've been in, and it'll come up and says, click this button to allow to see what Copilot analysis has. And I've never used it.
Yeah, this is interesting. The output is a little bit hard to read. Sometimes I'll get it'll do the reconciliation and it'll pop up in a totally new spreadsheet. And I'm not sure if I just typed it wrong or asked it wrong, but it does provide me the items that are missing or mismatched.
I mean, that's pretty clear to read, and you did type it. You did, the prompt was different than you normally do, because you said you usually use the named tables or named fields.
Named tables, right.
But I'm sure you could prompt it to say it's in a separate spreadsheet.
Absolutely.
One of the other really powerful things that I want to show with some of the time that we have left is configuring Claude to talk to your other tools. So again, I went into my name in the lower left-hand corner, go into settings, and there's this connectors. They're moving things around a lot, but at least they help you follow the breadcrumbs. So when I click on connectors, I can click customize. Now here is where we've got access to all of the things that we can connect Claude to. So I've connected it to DocuSign, Google Drive, HubSpot, but you can click that plus sign and browse connectors. And here is where you can see all of the different services that you can connect Claude to today. And this list is changing all the time. But Monday.com is in there, Asana is in there, Box.com is in there, tons of things. And really what this means is when you're prompting, you can include information from those systems. So you use it with HubSpot all the time.
Yeah, I don't only read from HubSpot, I actually write to HubSpot. So I find myself going into the actual SaaS application of HubSpot much less, because I'm sitting in Claude and I'll say, I have an agent that will brief me on a prospective client. So brief me on Reid Johnston. It is now going to go into my HubSpot contact for Reid Johnston and all my emails in M365 and any other M365 data I have on it. It will come back and I have it doing a whole bunch of things, but then it will make a suggestion of maybe what I should do next, but then it will actually write a task, my next task, to HubSpot. So it'll give me the action. It will allow me to take the action from Claude via HubSpot, and then we'll write back to HubSpot what my next action would be in a task.
And that's a connector.
Yeah,
that's a connector. So encourage everyone to look through the list, see what's available. The other thing is you go to plugins, and here Anthropic has created kind of a kit. A plugin is like a kit where they're providing you with skills. They're providing you with connections to different tools. Obviously, you have to have an account with these various tools, but it's kind of a kit that allows the tool to interact with these different systems like Slack or HubSpot or Canva in a really advanced way, like maybe a marketing person would, or some of the other ones here. Let me go back. Sorry.
There's sales, there's finance, there's a lot of great ones.
Yeah, there's operations, finance,
legal.
Yep, human resources. So we encourage everybody to check those things out too. Yeah, so one of the tools that Cowork has is the ability to manipulate your calendar. So it can change event colors, it can create events, make changes to events. So I've got a simple prompt here. Look at my calendar for the week of 4/27, so next week. For any internal reoccurring meeting, add a 30-minute block in front of it so I can prep for that reoccurring meeting, unless it already has block in it, because I block out my calendar throughout the days and weeks.
Oh, so you are in. I was going to say, show your calendar first.
Show it first. Yeah, I'll pull it up here. So here's the calendar. This is the week of 4/27. You can see I've got my blocks in the morning. I've got a board meeting. We've got a reoccurring automation meeting. We have a reoccurring leadership meeting. We've got our Teal weekly check-in and a tools and stack meeting. So I've got a few different internal weekly or reoccurring meetings, basically. And if I go back here, Cowork is now working on that. So it's viewing my calendar first, and it's going to kind of iterate through. So we should let it do its thing here, and we can talk about some other stuff, because this will take a while.
When we look at the end, we should see the meeting prep before those 3 meetings or 4 meetings, whatever you just showed.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We'll look at it in a minute. But I think next we wanted to talk about inbox.
Got it. Yeah. So one thing that comes up a lot is you want to look for content in your inbox, right? Maybe messages from a particular vendor. So I want to show the distinction here. I put a prompt into chat, read my emails from the last 7 days from PAX 8, and provide me with a listing of messages and a quick summary. This is a typical thing I would put into chat, and it did a great job. It found 5 messages, which sounds about right. Now, remember, though, chat can't return 50 things. It just can't. Microsoft puts a limit on it. It's about 10. So if I had more than 10 messages from PAX 8 in the last week, it probably wouldn't even surface them all, and I wouldn't even know, which is an interesting limitation of chat. At the end here, it gave me some takeaways, and I said, email it to me. It drafts an email, and it gives me a little tool here that I can click send, which is nice. This is actually pretty new. I haven't experienced this before personally, having a little inline email tool. If I go back into Cowork, I'm going to show you, I ran this same prompt earlier. Said, okay, read my emails from the last 7 days from PAX 8. It gave me a similar output. It's the same messages, which is great. And then I said, email it to me. First time it errored out. And then I hit retry. And it just sent the message on its own. No problem.
Prove that.
So I got to go into my Outlook now. Just a second here. Got to find it. Because like you, I've got a bunch of open windows here.
Maybe I shouldn't have asked that question in a live webinar.
I got it here. So here it is. So here's the message. Here's the summary of emails. And then it found another one, automatic reply. And it embedded this little sent by Copilot Cowork, because it was an automation that sent it for me. So Microsoft put that in to protect people, I guess, from thinking they're getting a real message when it was really an automation. But that's pretty neat. I'll contrast that with the email that I sent out of chat. So remember before I went into chat, typed in the same prompt, and it gave me that email tool. And when I hit send, this is the output I got. There's no sent with Cowork because I'm the one that hit send. And that's the big difference. If you're in chat, you're triggering all the actions live. If you're in Cowork, it's working on its own.
So theoretically, if you go back to chat Cowork, and I feel like we might already be getting confusing, but you go into the Pax8 emails. Pax8 is a distributor. You asked it, what are my last emails?
Yep.
You could theoretically, and I don't know that you need to do this right now, you could automate that to occur once a week.
Let's try that.
Okay.
Schedule this to occur every Monday morning. Because one of the things you can do with Cowork is create a reoccurring task that just happens on its own. Now, when you would type the same thing into Copilot chat, it would kind of gaslight you. It would say, I did it. And it wouldn't necessarily do it. But now I've got a little output here. Search my inbox. So this is the prompt it's going to use, basically. And then it's going to create a new chat or a new Cowork thread, a session every time it does this. And I can activate and run or just activate it because I just ran it. But let's activate and run. So now it created the schedule for me, and it's going to rerun the prompt that it did up here, basically, with a little bit more information because it's a more thorough prompt.
It actually auto-created a better prompt for you. Yeah. On the right there, you can see that's the task. And I believe if you go back to the root of, there you go. If you go back to the root of Cowork up there on the left, you'll see your tasks.